Good morning, world. Christine here at Sparkbird, and this video is for a kit in my shop. It's instructions for anyone who buys that, some assembly tips and instructions. So this was the original, and this is already online, and you can buy it, you can see it online. But I was contacted by a customer who said, look, I want to use this in a traveler's notebook, and I wonder if I can just scale it and if it will work. And I thought about it for a minute and realized technically it might, but whether I'd be happy with how the graphics produced or if she had to do a funky kind of scaling for it. So I told her I would create one that was more sized to traveler's notebooks, and that's what I've done. So it's basically this kit, but it's bigger. And I want to talk about it for a minute because there's some options you have if you get this kit. And one of them is how you print it. They come obviously printed on one sheet of paper. Ta-da. And you can see this is the original. And this is how it will print on the sheet. The line's not there. That was for my design help. So anyway, so you can see how that prints. That's at 100% standard, the size I have it on the paper. But then, if you just turn on, if your printer has it, what's it called? Borderless printing. Then you'd get a slightly larger folder. And it still fits in a standard traveler's notebook, but you can see it's slightly larger, let's do it this way, than the original. And that's something to think about all the time. If you have a printer that prints borderless and you have that setting turned on, chances are good your print is going to be a little bit larger than what is on the paper. And knowing that helps when things aren't fitting, because all it really does to do a borderless print is it enlarges everything just a little bit to make sure that the entire edge is covered. So that's one way you could get a slightly larger print. This was at 100%, this was at 100%, and yet this one had the borderless printing turned on, and it's a little bit bigger. So in this kit, you could also, in fact, enlarge, do a scale in your print dialog box of 105% width and 108% of the height. And that will make it just big enough to still fit on the paper, still fit in your notebook. And you do need borderless printing for this because you can see it's going to go straight to the edge. And then you just trim off a little bit. So it's just something to think about. These are just a few tips I thought I'd share in getting the largest folder possible. Because of course I'm limited to the paper size when I'm designing these things. But this is a way that those people who don't have borderless printing could get the standard size. And those people that do can get it a little bit larger should they choose. So that's just some info. Okay, so the other thing about making the larger size is the first version, this version, was able to print, I was able to print the pockets all on one page, similar to this. They're printed like this. And you can see that you just fold it here and seal up the sides. Well, on this larger size, this is not big enough, so I had to run them this way, which means there are two pieces for every pocket, and that's something to think about. So here, in fact, there are two pieces cut out, and I'm going to show you what those pieces look like when you print them. So two pieces, identical shapes, but each different side of the page. I mean, technically you could just have printed two of one, but then you'd get the same print on both sides. And I know it probably only bothers me, but it bothered me. So I created these separate pieces that are not identical. So anyway, forgive me if I'm not finding words this morning. So on each print, you're going to find score lines, and I use them just to help the paper fold where I want. Now in some of this, you're going to want some flexibility in the score because of how you might cut the other paper. And I'll show you about that because you might want to fold it slightly tighter or looser. It all depends. So there, I did my two scores. And now I'm going to cut the rest of this out. Okay, so then you just have to trim these, and the angle isn't even that important. They just need to go over the edge of the other side. Okay, so here's one. You can kind of see how that's going to go. You do want to, in all of these, make sure that you trim off anything white, because these will be on the outside of the piece. And I don't know, I don't want white showing. So I'm just going to come in here. Trim that up. Okay, so for the second one, that's how I cut one. Now for the second one, you want to do one thing slightly differently. And that's, you want to just cut this off, this bottom flap, because you don't need two of them. There's going to be one on that side. So the simplest thing to do is, once you know which is going to be the other side, and there's nothing that says you can't use this as the other side. You know, I mean, you don't have to be matchy-matchy with the ephemera as I have here. You could do absolutely anything you want. That is the beauty of creating. So then, I wonder how often my head's been in the frame. Hopefully not a lot. I'm working with different arrangements of the camera to try and minimize that, because it's so annoying to me. I can't imagine how it is for you guys, but I apologize. I'm working on it. Okay, so now, oh, I didn't score. Okay, that's okay. See, I didn't score this part. It's gonna fold over the outside, and it's just fine that I didn't. And you might not want to too. Like I said, you might want to judge that based on where this fold is. Okay, so now I am gonna fold these on where I scored them. Now I'm gonna stick this flap side out. So it's going to be over here. And now it looks like the page just continues. And then this side is going to fold onto here. So by not scoring it, you can fold it directly and evenly with the sheet that's in there, which is better actually, because you don't know. I mean, you might have cut it a little wonky. Okay, so that's done. Now you just have to glue it. So you don't need to use heavy duty glue, but you're not going to want these to come apart. So this is a good choice. It's quick and easy, dries fast. So then it's just glue, 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 glue. And this one. And you can also choose to have the flowers on the inside or the outside. It's all your choice, and I'll show you the difference in a second. So now I'm going to stick this in. Oh, I missed a little part. See, that's what I mean. You want to make sure you get all the white parts off. All right, so we're going to stick that in there. And this in here. You do want to get it straight down. Now come on to the other side. And you wait for your glue. I shouldn't have dumped it back over, right side up. Okay, it'll glue like that. Okay, that's how you assemble the pockets. So here I have this one done, and this one done. And I'm going to do the next one off camera just to save you the tedium of watching me do it. And then I'll show you what's next. So I'll be back. Okay, so it's that simple. Now we have pouches that are big enough to go into larger folders. So one thing to consider, I mentioned that it doesn't matter, like I have all the flowers on the inside here, so when it opens up, it's going to open up that way. And you could just as easily have put all the ephemera showing there and the flowers on the outside, or you could have printed the other background. There's another background included with the kit that I actually never print. I should do that. Okay, so back to these. So now we've got our new pockets all ready, and they seem to be reasonably the same height, but I am Christine and I am pure neurotic. So I'm going to find the smallest one. I'm really not neurotic, but I am particular. That's what we call it around here. So I can see the smallest one, And I'm not sure how it got to be that small. Maybe I have Bordeaux's printing set on for the other ones. And I'm just going to trim. You don't have to do this. You could be more freeform, but I'm going to clean this up. Then we're going to glue. So now it's just a matter of gluing these together. 1, 2, 3. And it's very easy. And it's basically just add some glue to the middle part here. And I'm going to put this one. Also, this print changed in the kit. I decided I wanted to use a different piece of art. So, and now we just do this. Same thing. If you watch the other video, and I'll link to it, I also talk about a few tips that I have for making some of the cuts when you're cutting out the folders for the curves and things and rounding the corners. But otherwise, it's pretty much this, without that little extra part of having to create the pouches from separate paper. So now we're going to fold them this way and this way. It looks like this one's a little off center. So thankfully the glue is going to give me plenty of time to correct that. There we go. Okay, that's it. So now we pick which one we're going to do. We'll do this one. There are three different designs that come in the kit, and I'm going to do this one. And they're all coordinated and they all go together, but they're each a little different. So now we're going to line this up. Oh, before we do this, if you'd like, and I would like, to put a little thumb hole right through all of these. So I'm going to mark the center. I know you guys think I'm nuts, but I like certain things. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5. So it's going to be about 3 there, right? About there. All right, so now I'm going to come in here and chomp a little bit. I'm going to try and do all 3 at once. Do you think I could do it? 6 sheets of paper? Oh yeah. Okay, that's beautiful. And then I, of course, would ink them, but I could do that later. So now that this is all together, and our thumb holes line up perfectly because we chomped them all together, I'm going to stick this baby in here and just glue. Now for this gluing, we do glue a little bit more. Still not the whole thing, but I do about 1/3 of the area when I'm gluing the pockets together, but then I do about 50% of this whole area, but only in the center, to give it more grab and more stability. So there's one. And stick this in, line it up. That looks beautiful. And now we do this side. Same thing, about 50 total percent. There we go. Close this up. Give it some love. And voila, all done. So there you have it. Again, it's the same kit, just a little bigger with that one change. And I hope that helps anyone who bought the kit, and enjoy it and go create, be awesome.